What is this? A delightful tale of a girl no bigger than your thumb. But wait, I'm a blasted frog. I plumb don't have any thumbs. Blooming primate with his bloody opposable thumbs. How am I supposed to open the book again? How exceptionally annoying. I do decree this story of a tiny, thumb-sized girl, however large that may be, must have been a great one for fate to torment me so. Thumbelina. Once there was a tiny girl. She was sweet and pretty and no taller than your thumb, so Thumbelina was her name. Every night, Thumbelina slept in a bed made from a walnut shell with a violet petal mattress and a rose leaf cover. Every day, Thumbelina played in a small garden, where she rowed her tulip petal boat from side to side on a tiny lake. She made a most charming sight. And as she went along in her boat, she sang in the sweetest little voice you ever heard. One night, as Thumbelina lay sleeping in her pretty bed, a great ugly toad came hopping by and saw the lovely maiden. She would make just the wife for my son, thought the toad. So she snatched up Thumbelina and hopped back to her home in the muddy bank of a brook. She put the sleeping Thumbelina on a water lily leaf. In the morning, when poor Thumbelina woke up, she cried most bitterly. The big green leaf had water all around it, and she could not possibly escape. The little fishes that swam in the water below heard Thumbelina crying. They had caught sight of the ugly mother toad and knew what she had in mind, so they swarmed around the tough green stalk and gnawed it through with their teeth. At last, the leaf boat swirled to a stop against a mossy bank in a strange forest world. All through the summer, Thumbelina lived quite alone in that enormous wood. From blades of grass, she wove a bed. For food, she had honey from the flowers, for drink, the morning dew on the leaves, and so she passed the summer and autumn. Then came winter. All the birds flew away. The flowers withered, the leaf under which she had lived shriveled up and turned to a faded yellow. As Thumbelina searched for a new shelter, it began to snow. At last, on the fringe of the wood, she came to a field mouse's door. The mouse took a liking to Thumbelina at once and invited her to stay for the winter. Thumbelina happily agreed. In the evenings, the field mouse's neighbor often came to call. He was a tiresome old mole. But his house is even snugger than mine, the mouse said, and he wears such a lovely black velvet coat. If only you could get him for a husband, you'd be well off indeed. Thumbelina had no intention of marrying the mole. He couldn't bear the sunshine and flowers that Thumbelina loved so much, and he said all sorts of rude things about them. One day in the lawn passage to the mole's house, Thumbelina found a bird. It was a swallow, numb with cold and almost dead. She wove a fine blanket of hay for the swallow and covered him with it. She brought him water in the petal of a flower and took care of him all winter long. When she was not caring for the swallow, Thumbelina spent her time spinning and weaving with the help of some spiders. For the tiresome old mole had proposed to her, and the mouse decided they should be married soon. She grew sadder and sadder as the wedding day drew near. She would have to say goodbye to the sun and flowers, since the mole did not care for them. When spring arrived, Thumbelina opened a hole in the roof of the passage, and the swallow stepped out into the sunshine. How happy the swallow was to be free. Thumbelina watched him with tears in her eyes, for it was her wedding day. "Come with me, Thumbelina," begged the swallow. "We shall fly away to the warm countries, where it is always summer and there are lovely flowers." "Yes," cried Thumbelina, "I will come with you." She climbed on the bird's back and tied her sash firmly to his feathers. Then the swallow flew high into the air, over lakes and forests, over mountains of everlasting snow. They came to an ancient palace of shining marble, which stood among green trees beside a blue lake. Here the swallow flew down with Thumbelina. He placed the tiny maiden on a broad flower petal. There, in the middle of the flower, was a little man no bigger than Thumbelina. He was the king of the spirits of the flowers. "My, how handsome he is," thought Thumbelina. The little king was equally enchanted at the sight of Thumbelina. He asked her what her name might be and if she would be his wife. "Yes, I will," said Thumbelina shyly, so the king took the crown from his own head and placed it on hers. And at that moment, from every flower a tiny lady or gentleman appeared, bringing a gift for the new queen. Her favorite gift of all was a pair of beautiful wings from a white butterfly. These were fastened to her back so that she could flit from flower to flower. Such rejoicing there was then, and flying close to the happy couple was the swallow, who sang for their happiness with all his loving heart.